Winds gusting up to 80 miles an hour today. Not as strong as yesterday, but it doesn't mean it's set to be any less dangerous. With trees and fall leaves still set to fall, widespread disruption is likely.
Saturday, Sunday on the travel advice rather than the weather advice?
I think until you see the whites of its eyes, sometimes it's probably hard to believe. And then it was overnight people being unable to sleep because it was so noisy, waking up thinking, wow, that was a windy night. But then actually the reality of getting to the train stations, going, oh, yeah, there are no trains and they are delayed. So
warning that very to clear any obstructions and fix power lines that even
changes the way that people work. It changes safety regulations around councils.
All right, Laura, thank you.
Next name storm. And I just think it's worth reminding people why we name a storm. We name them when they're set to cause widespread disruption. But people asking me where the names come from. And this one actually is named after a female astrophysicist. Her name was Jocelyn Bell, Jocelyn Bell. She's from Northern Ireland. £1 million for her breakthrough in physics. She discovered the very first pulsar stars, and she's used it to help young females in science to make sure they can make their own breakthroughs as well. So yes, that is where this storm is named. And here's the all-important details. It is set to be powerful, but nowhere near as strong as yesterday's storm. So the wind's about 20 miles an hour less, but it comes exactly one day after Storm Isha, which means down. The trees that could fall, that could come down. So that is the problem, that it's coming in such quick succession. So warnings-wise, everything is susceptible. So think about the power lines that haven't come. So the big thing is that it's coming in such quick succession. So actually, I was talking to the Met Office yesterday, and this storm alone we might not have named, because most of the country that is covered by a warning, yellow across basically everywhere apart from the southeast of England and southern areas of England. So most of England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland covered by a yellow wind warning. It is the far north of Scotland that has an amber wind warning, and it starts this afternoon. All night tonight, that's when we see the peak, and it lasts into tomorrow as well. So it is all day tonight and into tomorrow, and again, tonight is set to be the peak. So it's the risk of trees coming down yet again onto these rail services. That means there's more disruption likely there. We've heard about all the cancellations that are going ahead, and our correspondents have all the details.
Yes, so let's go out and about with our correspondents, seeing the...
So we are having, yet again, another named storm. So this is the satellite image from yesterday, that Storm Isha that is now cleared away. But a more massive area of cloud, this is Storm Jocelyn, arriving from the west as we speak. So it's set to get worse as we head through the day. Warnings in force, yellow ones for wind across most of the country, away from the south. That's gusts of 60 to 70 miles an hour, 80 in the amber warning area. But also worth pointing out, not just windy, also wet. Western areas of Scotland, northwest England, here susceptible to the risk of flooding from all the rain over recent days. So yes, today wet and windy, and the rain is already moving in. So it's arriving from the west as we speak. First comes the rain and then comes the wind. So this morning, a band of rain marches right across the whole of the country, and it will be heavy. But it's when we see this secondary band of rain moving in later on today that the winds really pick up. So warnings in force from 12 o'clock in the south, 4 o'clock in the north, but it's overnight tonight. We're set to have our strongest winds. Good morning to you. This is normally the time I do my 7-day outlook, giving you detail for the week ahead, but instead I'll use that extra time to give extra detail about Storm Jocelyn arriving today and overnight. Lots of people asking me why this is happening. It was so cold last week, now it's so mild. It's the divide between the cold and the warm, and between is the jet stream, and it's that we have overhead. A powerful jet stream causing explosive cyclogenesis. This storm deepening by 24 millibars in 24 hours. Storm Jocelyn arriving as we speak. Warnings at the moment for much of the UK, up to 70, even 80 miles an hour for the north of Scotland. This storm is not as powerful as the one we had yesterday, but no less dangerous, because we're in a tricky situation with power lines potentially falling over, further trees falling, and that means there's further widespread disruption likely, and also heavy rain warnings as well. So wet and windy is the name of the game. The rain is arriving already. Storm Jocelyn here in the west. But the rain comes first and then comes the wind. So a wet morning for England and Wales. This whole band of rain then moves its way through Scotland and Northern Ireland, heaviest in the north, and barely mentioning the temperatures, but it's exceptionally mild. It is as the band of rain clears through. This cold front, within the warm front, the air is stable, but as the cold front moves through, the air becomes very unstable. And so 8 o'clock tonight, these are the gusts of wind we're expecting. We're looking at 50 to 60 mile an hour gusts of wind across the north. They peak overnight up to 80 miles an hour. But a snapshot of this evening, people may be heading to bed, heading out and about, but when you come out to go outside, these are the gusts we're set to experience. 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts of wind. So this whole band of rain moves southwards, blustery showers overnight, hail, thunder a possibility if the wind and rain isn't enough to keep you up. And like I said, the peak winds overnight. So waking up tomorrow still with gusts of wind to 60 or 70 miles an hour. So tomorrow morning, if you have to travel, make sure you check because there's likely to be further widespread disruption.